All right, here we are. We're on. Here we are. Welcome to Neureal Hangout. This is the first one we're doing here for the recent surge in Neureal. Plan to put on a token sale, and we wanted to start these up again. We were doing them. I think the last one we did was probably maybe 6, 7, 8 months ago. So we want to kind of get the project going again. So welcome everybody here. We're all on the team. Anybody who's on the Neureal team that wants to be, truthfully.
Everyone.
So anyway, maybe I'll just hand it over to Jen to introduce yourself, and then the rest of you can kind of introduce yourselves and say what, let people know what your interest in Neureal is and what you're helping with and what you're working on for it. So go ahead, Jen.
Okay, there she is. I've got like a serious delay. Wow, I'm like a minute behind. I might have to log out and log back in. So I'm Jen Grayson. Have been. Wow. Okay, I gotta pop out, you guys. It's
too much. Okay.
All right, we'll get back to you in a minute, Jen. Okay, so next up is Darian. Why don't you start off?
Sure. Okay. So I'm Darian. I've kind of been involved with Neureal for a few years now. I'm on the dev team. My background is in mathematics. I think my main interest in Neureal, besides being interested in cryptocurrency, I like that this is a response to AI of large corporations, like something that can compete with Google and Facebook and Microsoft, those other producers and users of AI, of large data. I like that this is a sort of a democratic response to that.
Awesome. Yeah, that's one of the reasons. That's one of the main reasons I got into it as well. All right, Jen, you're back. Jen, are you back?
Okay, I'm back. I think I'm back.
All right.
Okay. I'm Jen Grayson and been involved in the project since July. And what else am I saying? Sorry.
Just what are you contributing, and why are you a part of Neureal?
So I get to contribute my business expertise of managing businesses from startup to execution, and am excited about the possibilities, the endless possibilities of Neureal.
Awesome. Okay. Let's go, Michelle. How about you be next?
Sorry. Okay, am I unmuted? Okay.
Yeah.
Hi. How's it going, everyone? So I'm Michelle, and I've been involved with Neureal for a couple months. Not fully, but I'm here mostly for support. And hopefully when I'm needed, I can help with growing the community and creating events and networking and just being involved. Plus, I think it's really, really awesome. It's exciting. So
cool. All right. Cool. Kyler. Hey, Kyler. What's up?
Hey, how's it going? My name's Kyler Anderson. It is hard to say what my background is. I've been involved with Neureal for officially for 36 hours now. But I'm incredibly excited about the project, and I've known Will for, I think, 5, 6 years now. Sorry, my dog's trying to speak up as well. My background is I ran a unit in the Marine Corps that was marksmanship based, and several other things since then where I did training applications and developed communities for several other companies and sales and marketing strategies. And I'm mostly doing community management for the company right now, but I'm willing to leap in and tackle absolutely anything that that I can. And as far as why I'm involved in Neureal, I absolutely and utterly love the democratization of these large scale computing powers that currently only, I think, what is it, 5 or 6 companies have the ability to run these type of massive networks and actually get real productive data out of them. It's unbelievable to me the way that this democratizes it. And I love the fact that just as the question of how much computing power other cryptocurrency networks are wasting and just disappearing into the void, this pops forward. So yeah, that's why I'm here.
Cool. It's awesome. All right, Tom.
Yeah.
What are you what are you interested about Neureal?
Well,
And
you
how-
know, I remember when you first started working on it, and you know, it's so unique in the blockchain space, and that, you know, the way you set it up, that no one's done it quite that way as far as creating the code and developing the idea behind it. You know, when you first, it's complicated, but I think, you know, as time goes on, you're going to be able to flush it out where it's simplified, at least for its initial launch. You know, just there's just so much out there, and it's just grown so exponentially over the last, you know, especially in the last year. It's just mind-boggling, all the different projects on, you know, Ethereum, dApps, and, you know, things that are similar, but they're not, because they're not developing the code from the ground up like you did. So that's pretty much my interest in it. You know, just, you know, whatever I can do. You know, I'm kind of limited with time, you know, with my job and such, but, you know, I'm just really interested in the space and just seeing where it can go, you know, as far as predictive engines and developing your AI based off of that. You know, I mean, it's going to be a long-term project, I would perceive. Just, you know, it has been. You know, you've been working on it since, when did you start? 2000?
It's almost 4 years now.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's been a while. And when you first started showing it to me and you're compiling the code, you know, it just, I don't know how to really describe it, but, you know, it can totally be a game changer. Well, hell, you've already won awards with it, you know, as far as the code base. It's just a matter of just getting it out there for people to see it. You know, I think the whole thing, well, all this stuff seems like it's marketing to some degree, you know, as far as getting people to get into your community, which you've been working on the last while, quite steadfast. So I think I see a bright future with it, you know. So whatever I can do to help, I don't really know what I can do. You know, I told you I was doing that crowdfunding thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Playing with crowdfunding code, you know, like, oh, you could do like crowdfund, you know, aspects of, you know, and I just haven't talked to you enough about it recently to really be up to speed again to exactly how it all functions. But, you know, it shouldn't take too long to figure out, you know, get back to where I understood it enough where I could actually probably implement some ideas. But
Yeah, that sounds great. So we're right in the process. We just had a meeting with Kyler and Ashley, who's helping us write technical documentation. So we'll have, you know, we'll have a whole layout of actually what exactly is Neureal, what is the blockchain, how does it work, how is it different, you know, like, not how it's different particularly, but this is exactly how it works. Like if you were to go use it, this is what it would do, or this is what you would do, like, and like the different pieces and how they work together. So we were working on that today, and we're going to have some of that more detailed documentation soon. So,
well, it seems like the UI too, you know, like all this stuff, you know, I've been dealing with like Aragon, which is, you know, it's based on Ethereum, you know, and developing, you know, DAO type corporations, and it has like an interface, you know, user interface, but it's all really limited. I mean, all this stuff's like not fully functional. So right now is time to try to raise money to actually get to that next level, is what I perceive.
yeah, totally. So that's what we're doing. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
The last, like, if you watched any of the previous Hangouts, you know, we were just barely getting into kind of the marketing and crowdfunding stuff, like at the time. So we're really jumping on that now. So I guess the state of the project, we've pre-sold some of the NACP tokens, and we are currently moving into our pre-sale phase, like trying to find pre-sale buyers. So what that means is we're looking for accredited investors that can pass KYC and accredited investor status. And we're looking for a minimum of $100,000 per person and a maximum of 35 people. So we're looking for a maximum of 3.5 million. And so that's the stage we are in right now. In order to accomplish that, we are creating a website that will take people through that KYC automatically and find out their accredited status, and they'll be able to make a pledge on that site, and we'll have all the documentation that's needed available on that site. It'll all be kind of it'll just be a database kind of thing currently. And then when we start the pre-sale, which is currently planned for February 15th, it'll be a smart contract that people will actually go in and buy and make their purchase. So we'll whitelist their Ether address. We'll gather that in the database as well, and we will whitelist their Ether address in the contract that runs on the 15th that was set up. So that's our current plan. Also, we will hopefully, before we take that money, we will have our foundation set up, and so that's another part. So we'll have all the legal documents we need, and all of the and a new website that we're putting together. We'll have that. We should have that ready soon as well. So we're kind of in a similar situation that we had before, but we're definitely stepping up our game. And we're getting to the point where we're going to be ready here. So anyway, yeah, that was me talking without my visuals, but looking at Tom there. Anyway, I just wanted to kind of pass it over to Jen, and maybe she can talk a little bit about some of the questions that we've had recently. And kind of our stance on that, and to give people kind of an overview. Me and her just got through talking a bit about, what we feel, our plan is here at Neureal, and how we're a little different than other people, and how we are in it for the long term, and to create a system that's actually beneficial for people, and isn't just about making money and doing pumps and dumps it's actually about creating a platform that can benefit all of humanity, on a worldwide scale, and individually make us all limitless and give us powers, that we only dream about normally. So I'll pass it over to Janice. You can talk about that.
Okay. So one of the big stands that Will and I had to really talk about in the very beginning was how we were going to set ourselves apart as Neureal. And right now there's a massive frenzy going on in the cryptocurrency space that everyone's aware of, that is on the great side, bringing in a lot of new people into the space, a lot of people that have never heard of Bitcoin, have never heard of cryptocurrency. And that's creating a lot of traffic, a lot of exposure, and that for the industry as a whole has been a really great thing. But a lot of people are getting involved in it because they think they can Forex their money overnight, which a lot of people have done, which is fantastic and great for them. But what we really wanted to create at Neureal was something very different, and something that stood out, and we've worked really hard to stay on the fringes of the frenzy as it's gone on. It's why we've continued to push back our token sale. It's why we've pushed it back all the way to March now, to really make sure that we can be a leader in the space. We've chosen not to list the interim token on a market. We've chosen to close the sale to the US and the public sale to the US and some of the other countries that have regulation that is not crypto friendly. And we've talked a lot about that and want to do it not only for the health of Neureal, but for the health of Neureal, for the health of crypto in general, just so that we can be established as a leader and create some best practices. So that's kind of the answer to that question. What else?
What's the status and the thinking and about putting our foundation in Barbuda/Antigua?
So when we first started to talk with attorneys, everyone wanted us to put it, one of their big suggestions was to put it in a tax favorable entity, tax favorable location. A lot of people have put it in the British Virgin Islands, the Caymans, those general locations so that they can have a tax favorable situation. We had looked at those. We looked at Gibraltar, which had a 10% flat tax for corporations. And when Hurricane Irma came through and wiped out the entire island of Barbuda, we looked at that as a location, what it looked like for corporations. And because we were already taking a look at the hurricane modeling as one of the MVPs for Neureal, we were very immersed in the awareness for hurricanes and what was happening with that. And so Antigua and Barbuda was favorable enough, and what it allowed us to do was go down. I've had several meetings with government officials down there and have been able to talk to them about having a physical humanitarian effort that goes alongside the digital humanitarian effort that is what the Neureal network is as a whole. So that's why we chose that location. I was just down there the beginning of December, got to meet with several different parliament members, some new officials that are coming in. We've talked about legislation that'll be able to likely impact all of the 9 Caribbean independent islands. I think there are 9. I may have just made that number up. But the independent 9 islands that are all really looking at crypto and what it can do for them as an economy. And so Neureal is impacting people's lives on a lot of different aspects, just well beyond what the project as a whole can do, but what we're able to do in Barbuda on the physical side and what that's going to look like for the people down there is pretty amazing. And so it's really who Neureal is, that it is a humanitarian project, both digitally and physically.
That's awesome. So
yeah, great job, Jen. By the way, that's awesome. Great job, you guys.
It doesn't hurt that I have to go to the Caribbean once a month, I'll admit, since I'm currently like in a scarf in Utah because it's 10 degrees here.
Yeah, I'm a little jealous. Cool.
Okay, so you talked a bit about our real goal and kind of our DNA or whatever, which is that we, we're doing it as a humanitarian kind of thing in general, which just for me means that we are creating systems that are going to benefit everybody in the whole world, and that kind of ties back to Darian and Kyler and Tom's sentiment as well, that this is a project that has the potential to bring artificial intelligence and the power of artificial intelligence back to the people, and that means everybody in the world and anybody that has access to a computer or the internet. It leverages that and has that potential. So that's awesome. And of course, that's my goal as well. For that to happen, I think our main, we're killing 2 birds with 1 stone by doing marketing. Marketing is not just to make money; it's also to grow our community. And in fact, that's probably the real reason for it. Like, not probably, it is the real reason. So even though we are asking for money now, really what we're asking for is contributions in some form. Like get involved in the project. Help out in some way, and if you like what you see, we all can work together and make this happen. So I'm leading that, and Jen and Darian, and hopefully Kyler here is going to help lead our community. And so Kyler, let me hand it over to you to kind of give an idea of what you see as our next steps forward in community growth, and some ideas what you have on that. Just kind of let us know what you're thinking about that.
Oh, sure. Didn't know I'd have to be presenting anything. Yeah, let me go into the idea that I had last night for, I guess, is that what you're kind of talking about, Will, is my idea that I had last night that I shared to the marketing group?
Yeah, that's an idea. More
that's
like
a place to start at least.
Yeah, just like give us your general like next steps forward or into the future. Like what can Neureal do to let people know about the project and what it's all about, and what's kind of happening right now too. Kind of give us an overview of maybe what's actually happening.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. As far as what's actually happening right now, we are trying to get as many people as possible, or at least my side of it is that we're trying to drive as many people as possible into the Telegram group and get them asking good questions. And then we're trying to elevate those better questions into our different social media platforms. As far as where we're trying to drive the community, we really want to drive a real sense of, as far as I understand it, we want to drive a real sense of that. We want people to picture what they want to do with the network, not how rich they're going to get off of holding our tokens. And in order to do that, we have to create real incentives about people to start dreaming long-term about the type of things that they do want to do once the system is active and working, apart from cash out and go live on a beach somewhere. And in order to do that, I think it would be, for instance, a good idea to start something like, we're already trying to get a lot of people to write articles. And I've already started to pitch. We're going to be setting out article bounties with some very specific things that we want them to include in that. I would very much like to get a couple of video series or stream series. I know that this is more of a meeting that's kind of publicly recorded, but I think it would be good to have an outward-facing thing where we just say, hey, once a month or once a week, we have a stream where we're going to break down what Neureal is for you. Just anybody brand new, and then you can ask questions right there live, and then that will help draw people into it and get them really involved and actually understanding it, because it's hard to make people excited about something they don't really understand, in my opinion anyways. Let's see. And then my idea, what I'd really like to see, look, one of the other companies that I worked for had an incredible amount of success in creating and fostering a community by setting up little things like, specifically they did this, and I'd like to steal it from them, not word for word, but they started a video essay contest where they asked, how has, their specific thing was, how has the product, which was already a physical thing, changed your life after you bought it? And then do a little fun video about that and show that off. I'd like to do something different here. I think it would be really great if we asked people to do an essay or a video essay specifically about what they would do with the power of the Neureal network and how they picture that changing the world in their own words. I feel like that really does start to drive the attention away from, I'm going to hold this coin, I'm going to get money, to look at this unbelievably amazing thing we're building. Anyhow, as far as that goes, it's all good. We also need to start very seriously reaching out, and like this live stream that was here today, they're just little things that we can do. For instance, there's a lot of things that can be automated. The chat responses in the group for welcoming people and for all of that can all be automated pretty quickly, and I'd like to get that underway so that we're using less man hours and resources in little things. What else, Will? We want to institute. We want to really what it is that I'd rather create a system as far as the community management goes where I'm not acting all the time directly. Instead, I want to create a system where we incentivize the entire community to police the entire community, not just police it, but to uplift us.
Yeah, that sounds great. That's a DNA thing for Neureal, I believe. It's all. I mean, if we're getting down AI, we got to use AI. Like AI and automation is really our technical key. Any kind of leverage with that is great. So, hey, Darian just asked a few questions that we actually talked about earlier in our meeting, Kyler. And maybe you could answer those questions. Do you see
Sure.
them?
Let me pull up the chat. If we have time, let me just go ahead and read this then. If we have time, I'm hoping we can chat about what the share coin is versus blockchain. And my second question is, what will stop spam predictions? Is there a cost to making a prediction? Yeah, I can answer the second one very easily because that's exactly the question I had for him. And the answer to that is there's a couple of different ways to go about it, but one of the easiest ways is to just institute a very small fee for to institute a very small fee for predictions, just a transactional fee.
So just like some neurons or something?
Exactly. It immediately disincentivizes that because it makes it so it institutes the cost to the we can call it a social DDoS attack because that's really what, or a prediction DDoS attack because that's really what we're looking at.
And we don't have to do anything special because there's already a fee for transactions in general. So it's just a fee. We just make it a transaction one. So when you submit a prediction, it costs a small fee, the transaction fee for submitting that transaction.
Is there any way to like weight those so that, well, I don't know, maybe that doesn't even make sense, but I was just thinking like.
No, I completely see what you're saying. Like the way that the sorry to step on Will there, but the way that the PCC works, it'd be interesting if you could weight those transactions the same way, so that it's adjustable and that the person who sets up the oracle can make that, or the organization that sets up the oracle can make that decision. But that's all on Will.
Yeah. So I mean, you already have to gain value. You already do a running average. I mean, a running to get the value of the prediction itself. And so you're everybody's going to do that on their own. So everybody has the potential to do that as well. But it doesn't block the transaction itself. So anybody can put up the transaction. It's just the transaction fee for putting it up.
Gotcha. Okay.
So you're really just trying to stop that. So now, Kyler, the first question you can also answer because we did talk about that. Just read it again there. It's the side chain, not share chain.
Oh, okay. That's the part that I was confused about. Yeah. So essentially, the way that it's planned out right now is that when an oracle, which is if you want something predicted, you're the oracle, right? And so you come in and you tell the network what you want predicted. Once you make that and you set up the entire thing, a side chain is created, and all of the predictors and all of the predictions and the data on this particular question that that's the best way I can phrase it, the question that you're having, all of that takes place on the side chain, thus preventing all of those hundreds of thousands of transactions that are happening on there from bogging down and filling up the main chain. Once it has been completed and the prediction is and the payoff happens, the side chain is collapsed back into the main chain.
Oh, okay. So that's what's in the white paper. That's what's referred to as the share chain.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
We kind of knew about it back then when we architected back then. We knew that something was going to happen in that space. And now that the Lightning Network is I don't know if it's actually live, but it's on the verge of being live. That's kind of proven out. At least that's kind of proven out the concepts there. And so we're going to follow. One of the other things that Neureal we're doing is we're going to ride on top of the blockchain tech. So what that means is that any kind of tech that's created, we'll try to contribute to make the types we need, but we'll be gathering and using whatever the latest tech that we is out there. So like for instance, Lightning Network. Since we're forking Bitcoin. We're going to probably fork like Blackcoin and have proof of stake, but we're going to be able to custom create our own Lightning Network, basically in essence, using the Lightning Network technology, and we'll retrofit it for our chain and use it. So that's like, and if there's something that proves out that it doesn't work, we'll switch over to whatever. But our goal is to use whatever tech is out there to make our chain the most efficient that there is for prediction, right? And so that you can get the highest resolution of predictions and the most accurate, and the potential to be the world's most accurate platform for it.
Sure. Can you just spend like maybe a sentence or two explaining what the Lightning Network is?
Yeah. Okay. So the Lightning Network. So it's a sidechain solution. Basically, you set up a transaction where two people. There's a whole bunch of transactions involved. You do a bunch of handshaking. Technically, a bunch of stuff happens, and then basically you set up a locked-in amount, like an escrow for two people, and then those two people can then trade that back and forth as much as they want off chain, making transactions. But the very last one is the only one that works, and so you can anybody at any time can put that chain back onto the main chain, right? And then that's like locked in. So you have all these little transactions that lead up to one transaction that you put back on the main chain. And so there's a bunch of cryptographic things in there. And if somebody pulls out early when they're not supposed to, they lose like all the money they put up and stuff like that. So we're gonna have to retrofit that to fit into our architecture, to work with like multiple people jumping in. So we're gonna have to do some funky stuff in there to get it to work for us. But at least a lot of the tech's already there, and so we should be fine with that. So does that help?
Yeah, that's good.
All right. Okay, so that's awesome. So Kyler, so and Darian, you may know a little bit more just because so your wife is actually helping us as the lead marketing director-ish kind of person or whatever. So she's doing all that stuff, and I don't know if she's there. Is she available to chat?
I mean, I could take over watching the kids, and she could come out if you want.
We're playing that game too.
She'd probably get pretty mad at me. I don't think she was expecting to be on a camera tonight.
Okay.
So
it's always something, yeah.
Yeah. Want to give her a 5-minute notice or something?
Yeah, maybe I'll. Well, tell you what, I'll go see if she's up for it. But she was up pretty late with the boys last night. They were kind of giving her a hard time, and she kind of stayed up so I could go to work today, having some rest. So she's an awesome woman. I'm very lucky to have her. So if she doesn't jump on, just know it's because she's working hard in a lot of other areas. So yeah, I'll go ask her. Hold on.
Okay, thanks.
It takes a village to raise a coin.
That's right. So so let's see. Let me think. We kind of want to give people an overview of like where we're at. Like we talked about you haven't put me on. We talked about the marketing, where that's at. We talked about our stance as far as putting our token on a market, and where we're going to do that and why. And we talked about Barbuda and the foundation, and that will be the holder of the ether, that we sell for the token sale, both the public and the pre-sale, and why we're getting up there, huh?
Do we have any upcoming conferences or presentations that Neureal is going to be a part of?
I think so. There's a lot of stuff in the works, and then there's an actual event we're planning on the 30th now, here in Utah. So we're going to be doing that. Of course, we're going to have a live stream for that, and Brian Nelson, who is our presenter, like public presenter. He will be presenting at that, and we'll share the live stream in the Telegram. Speaking of that, I think there's two things that are really important as far as outreach and anybody talking about the project. I think the two most important things about the project are number one, to get awareness about it. Just the name Neureal, and that it's associated with artificial intelligence and cryptocurrency, kind of meshed together. That I think is like number one priority, like to get people to know about it. And then number two is to get people in our Telegram. So that's the call to action. That's like what we need. The more people we have there, the more people can follow. And so if you're reaching out to anyone, if anyone you know is interested, the first thing to do would be just, to get them into our Telegram group, which is send them a link. There's a link on the webpage. It's the first thing right under the video. So if you go to Neureal.net and you scroll down past the video, there's a link there you can copy and send to someone, or you can just send them to Neureal.net and say, click on the join our community page there. So that's the number one kind of thing we need from everyone right now. So if nothing else that you do, just try to get people in there, because we'll be posting things in there. We'll post links to to this event, any kind of podcast we do, any kind of outreach thing that we have coming up. We'll post links to it in there.
And I'll be there smiling and waiting to answer any questions you have.
Sweet. All right. Is there anybody, I don't want to, we're at 7:37. The maximum I wanted to go for these is an hour. But, we can shut this down early too if we don't have anything more to talk about.
Darian says his wife will be on in 2 to 3.
Oh, sweet. That's awesome. Can you give us a rundown of what she's doing, and I'd like to hear how that's going as well too. So awesome. Hey, speaking of that event, Michelle, maybe you could speak a little bit about what to expect for that, if people can come. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Yeah, so we're going to be in Lehigh. We'll have more information we'll share on Facebook, and we have a website for it and everything. But basically, we're putting together an event that's going to feature Neureal, My Day Trade, which they're a trading company. They do more of the regular stock exchange, and they have, I think they use, from what I understand, they use AI as well for their prediction for trading. And so they're getting more involved with the cryptocurrency world as well. So we're kind of combining forces with them and putting together a presentation. It's going to be on, I believe it's a Thursday night, and we're going to have hors d'oeuvres and kind of mingle, and then you'll get some information on kind of what's going on in both of those worlds. What was the other company called? Will T0? Are we?
Yeah, we're talking. We're trying to get them to come have a representation there, because they're starting the world. A cryptocurrency exchange basically.
Yeah.
And so they're pretty big. Overstock, is their parent company, Overstock.com, and so they're pretty big in this space, and so we want to see if we can get one of their presenters to present there, because it fits within the kind of the theme of that. So our just to remind everybody, our MVP, our first MVP is going to be a trading bot. So to trade cryptocurrencies. So we figure that's a really good test. It's it's where everybody kind of talks about, ends up, but it's not all that Neureal is. Just a piece of it. So yeah, so that's kind of our thing, is predicting the future is very important for trading, and there's a lot of implications there and a lot of craziness that's involved there, but we want to jump in the fray and make that happen.
We could talk about the new sale date. The last I heard, it was still February.
For the pre-sale?
Mm-hmm. The last I had heard, it was still February, and then Jen just said it was March. Do we have a?
Yeah, February 15th for the pre-sale for 2 weeks, and then March 1st for the public sale. So that we'll have the contracts running. So it looks like Lorraine's here. Lorraine, if you want to kind of fill us in on what you've been doing, and for the group, and let us know what your plans are as well, and maybe introduce yourself too. Oh, your mic's muted. You're probably talking, but your mic's
Okay,
muted.
yeah. Yes, I was talking. Great job figuring that out, Will.
Yeah.
But hi, everyone. I'm Lorraine. You could probably see my husband's picture, not my picture, because I have little children running around, and it's not an appealing sight. So, but yes, we've been so excited. We've just been up leveling our marketing and trying to do a lot more things like this. The hangout where people can really come in and really find out what Neureal is and really catch that vision. That's one of the things that we've been doing, as well as like Jen has been booking a few stuff where she get like speaking gigs and stuff like that. And then also just really up leveling our presence online, because it's a space that we just need to be on top of. So we've just been doing anything and everything we can to get the name out there, to get the idea out there, and to really bring people more into the community. And one of the things we're doing to bring people more into the community is just including that Telegram link in a lot of places so that they know where to get real-time feedback.
Awesome. That's awesome. That sounds great. So I've noticed there's a lot of posts and stuff. People even, I'm not sure who's actually watching, but having people come in and check us out and see what we're doing. So on that realm, I think that we've kind of made a breakthrough. Me and Jen kind of made a breakthrough in our messaging. I think it kind of like embodies in that video that she made just recently. And I think
People are loving that video.
Yeah, I think it's a really powerful, like really close to the like what it really is and the excitement that I feel about the project. It really kind of embodies that in a way that I think will appeal to a lot of people. And so I think I've noticed that you, Lorraine, have picked up on that as well. And your latest posts and stuff have been really on that. And I'm really impressed by that.
Oh, yeah.
So Jen, maybe
Jen, sorry.
No,
I was just going to say, Jen, people are loving your no more data, more decision article.
It's because we can all relate to that one. No one needs more data. My goodness, we need decisions and a way forward out from underneath the giant heavy weight of data. We don't need any more data. That's what Will says. Creating data is really, really easy. It's what do you do with it? So that gets really exciting, especially as, I get to be a business owner every day and wade through the decisions and data that Will and I have to deal with. And so it applies for me. I mean, I will always be the end user for Powered by Neureal. So I need less data or more data, but more decisions. So. Yeah,
data is good, but we shouldn't. It's like the plumbing and behind the wall. I mean,
right.
You need it there, right?
Yeah.
If you need the plumbing behind the wall, but you don't want the plumbing all exposed generally, right? With you don't need the wires and the plumbing and the insulation and everything exposed. You want to have like a nice, I just
want to turn the faucet so the water comes on. Yeah. That's all I need. Yes.
That's right. So, the other messaging that we have about like the limitless and like what the potential, like the real vision of what Neureal is and what we're actually creating and what the value of it is for people and how it could change their lives. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that, Jen.
Well, and I want to speak to that a little bit just based on what we've seen happening. We picked the hurricane modeling because it made sense and it was such an easy way to really apply the artificial intelligence in a way that could impact so many people. And because what we're doing is global, hurricanes are something that everyone understands. And as we've started to look at some of the places that we can apply Neureal, there are so many things. I mean, this year was a very hard hit hurricane year. And what's happening is Microsoft is pledging $50 million to climate research. And so we are looking at how do we partner with Microsoft on that endeavor. There is one other company that just raised $20 million to do to really look at climate change with AI. And so there are a lot of spaces that we even right now are able to partner with these very big things that are going on, because it's affecting a lot of lives right now. I mean, we saw it here in the US. I think typhoon season is starting right now as well. So we're going to start seeing that on the other side of the world. And it's just nature and how those things work. I saw another one that was for earthquakes. And I know, Lorene, we had talked about that with Haiti and how, they've never recovered from the devastation of that. And it's that, for me, really where I get really passionate about Neureal, that I see that we are impacting millions and millions and millions of lives. And so not only do we each as individuals get to be limitless, but we get to really leverage the limitlessness of Neureal and how that really, really is going to impact millions of people. So we're looking at how we partner with things that are already going on right now.
Yeah, that's really powerful.
I'd like to add to that, because I kind of feel that I feel like, I feel like we're constantly spinning our wheels trying to make a difference, and we like take one step forward, two steps back, and with this we finally have a tool that we can actually make an impact. We can make a difference. I know there's going to be a lot of obstacles, as there always are, but I feel like this is actually something that can be powerful. We can actually utilize the money to make a difference.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the big thing that I've realized that it gives you kind of the same power as time travel. I mean, that sounds crazy, but it gives you, like, if you think about time travel, like I want to go back into his past and pick out the stock that's gonna, like pick out the Apple stock. I wish I had Apple stock, right? So you think about that, and we all, not all of us, but most of us dream about, like, going back in the past and changing something that we did, or like, or something like that. So it really gives us that power, the power of time travel, of being able to see the future. If you can see the future, it's the same thing as if you went into the past.
Yeah, I'd like to just share that for just a second. I know that I just started working a little bit more than 24 hours ago for Neureal, but honestly, there was a moment right before I started doing it where I realized that, like, what we are building here is literally a power that humanity has been striving for since we've had recorded word. I mean, we are building what Odin gave up his eye for in the Poetic Edda. This is anyhow. Should not for nothing is it that we call the divination and oracles. Sorry, but yeah.
Okay, you can geek out.
Love geeking out. Hey, Will, I loved having a conversation with you where you were saying how we could use Neureal to really forecast, like, cancer patient, to really catch it before it becomes a huge problem.
Or even start looking at cancer diagnosis rates and then be able to predict different areas that are going to have higher cancer diagnosis rates based on different.
Yeah, like, there's so much data out there. We need something that can put it together and really. Sorry, my background is research, microbiology, and cancer, and blah blah blah. But like, there's so much data out there. Unfortunately, there's not enough things that can put all the information in there to really help one person or a million people or whatever. There's just, like, it's very slow and not totally accurate.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, that's really the power. So it's the power of unlimited accuracy, like the ability to push beyond the barrier of what us humans can do as far as prediction accuracy. And so once you go beyond the human ability to predict the future, you start getting into the realm of like, you know, almost kind of godlike, approaching godlike powers, you know, or not godlike, but you know, some sort of
you can
no,
say
no,
that.
that's
I mean, like
again, I wanted to. I
Yeah,
wanted to point out that that is literally the power that Odin the Allfather had. He
Yeah,
gave his
but-
life and plucked out his own eye to do it. So
Yeah,
yeah, that's godlike.
But you know what? I'm just thinking about even like what 20 years ago, 50 years ago, some of the things we're doing right now would be seen as this majestic, magical, powerful thing, right? What, Michelle?
Sorcery.
Yeah,
Yeah, the-
exactly.
Think about the Oracle of Delphi, and think about the Romans that were literally disemboweling people and animals to try and gain the knowledge that we're talking about here, the knowledge of the future to be used in a useful way. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. So so we didn't quite make an hour, but I think this is a really good note to sign off.
It's the perfect note to end on. Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Disembowelment?
Yes, maybe just a hair. We should have finished just right before disembowelment. Someone could make that note for next time.
All right. Well, we appreciate it. If anybody's watching this, you know, we have it. It's recorded here. Please join us next time for, you know, hopefully it's as interesting and hopefully we get more new people in with new questions, and you know, we'll kind of fill out the whole Neureal project, what it's all about, where it's going, and we'll make this thing happen.
I wonder, Will, if maybe in the future one we could even have people who can't attend submit some of their questions.
Oh, that's a great idea. Then we don't have like, you know, pauses that are, what was that called? Like
Dead air!
yeah. But what are we going to talk about now? I don't know.
Dead air,
No,
the
that's a
bane of
good
all
idea.
broadcasters.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess we'll sign off here, and so get us next time. Our next planned event, if you're watching this, I mean, our next planned hangout, I believe is. Let me look it up.
Oh, wait, Will.
Yeah.
Someone asked a question in the chat.
Oh, they did.
Yeah, they said, will this be processed through the main chain or through the Lightning Network?
Oh.
Oh,
So,
go on. Sorry.
is that the actual question?
Yeah, that's the actual question.
So
I'm
we're-
guessing that's from when I was answering, Will.
Oh, okay.
About the side chain, I mean. I'm just trying to give context.
Yeah, but I think it was. Go ahead.
Oh no, go on. Sorry.
I think that the answer to that we answered before, but just to recap really quick, we're going to use the Lightning Network technology if we can, and we're going to have to modify it for our particular use. So we'll use that technology if we can to optimize our chain so that our system will be as efficient and fast as possible out there. So like that's one of the problems with blockchains in general and general compute. It's one of the things that differentiate us that we want from other projects that are doing general AI compute or general compute in general, like Golem. So we are focused on using whatever technologies out there, whether it's the Lightning Network, whether it's some other thing that is out there that I don't know about, that will make our chain the most efficient. So that's what we're going to be focused on. So hopefully that answers it for whoever asked that. Anyway, so let's sign off. And I was going to say the next event, the next hangout is going to be January 11th at 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And so that is for us here in Mountain Time, that's next Thursday at 1 p.m. So if you're, obviously you have to adjust your location, but what we'll do is we'll we'll put a link to the event. So when you go to the YouTube page, it'll show you right there up in the corner when the event's going to happen. It'll have a little countdown, so you'll be able to tell for your. I'm pretty sure it shows for your wherever you're at in the world.
Time zone.
Yeah, your time zone. What that time's going to be, so you can kind of keep track of it there. So we'll post up those. We'll post up those right after this. Actually, probably best to do it, and then we'll do it as it's coming up too as well. So anyway, so join us next time, and thank you all. I feel like I'm a TV person, but
Signing off.
Thanks
Good
everyone
night.
for coming.
Good
Good night.
Bye.
all right. See y'all later.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.